All right, guys, as you know, a major winter storm is coming towards the Ohio Valley. It'll begin tomorrow and go through Sunday. And so I wanted to make a video about what we should expect to happen. Before I get into that, though, I want to remind you of my pro site. You can join there at www.patreon.com/Ohio Valley Weather. And I post videos like this on there at least once a week. So if you'd like to see more of these videos, again, you could join my pro site. All right, so let's get into this. All right, so this is the weather map for tomorrow. Actually, this is for Monday morning based on the European model. I'm using the European model because as of right now, I think it represents the best average of all the models, of what the models are showing. And historically, the European model has been very accurate. So you can see how it's showing that storm over the Ohio Valley. But let's talk a little bit about the history of this storm. The storm started out here in the Pacific Northwest, came across Canada, and it dropped down like this. And now that's what we're expecting it to do. Yesterday, it was coming down here through the central United States, and there were several places in through here that got a foot of snow yesterday. We're expecting the center of the low to drop way down, possibly even go out over the Gulf of Mexico. If it does that, that's going to allow it to pick up a ton of moisture from the Gulf of Mexico that it's going to pull right up into the Ohio Valley and the northeastern United States. So even enhancing the snow even more. As it comes forward, though, you can see it's also going to be pulling moisture from the Atlantic Ocean. And as it gets over here, you can see the winds will be out of the northeast. And of course, that's why they call storms like this a nor'easter. All right, let's keep going. All right, so now we're zooming in and again using the European model here. And this is for tomorrow. You can see up here, this is 18Z, so subtract 6 from that, that would be 12. So this is about noon tomorrow. And you can see about by noon tomorrow, we could start seeing a little bit of snow flurries in southern Ohio. You will notice here the reds and the pinks, that is representing freezing rain. The models earlier today were showing a little bit more significant freezing rain possibly coming into the Ohio Valley. But this afternoon, the models have backed off on that, keeping the freezing rain further south, like down here into West Virginia. And so I'm not expecting much freezing rain to get north of the Ohio River. Although there is a slight possibility that there could be just a little bit of freezing rain at the beginning of this event. Now, if you look down here in North Carolina, that's bad. They're going to have some significant freezing rain down there. This is going to be significant ice accumulation, and that's where we're most likely to see the most power lines down and power outages. The snow coming to us, though, will be wet and heavy, and so power outages may also be possible for us here in the Ohio Valley. Now, as we move forward, now this is about 6 o'clock in the evening tomorrow, and you can see we've got heavy snow, especially in southeastern Ohio by 6 p.m. tomorrow evening. Those of you that have been following my pro site know that I've talked about a dry slot, and you can see that dry slot on here very well. This is that dry slot right in here. Sometimes a storm of this magnitude will pull dry air into its center. Right here, we can no longer get air from the Gulf of Mexico, and it's kind of too far removed from the Atlantic Ocean. And so we get a drier area where the humidity is lower. And so in that area that I circled, I am expecting snowfall totals to be slightly lower than the surrounding areas. And you'll see that in a minute when I show you the snow total maps. But again, by 6 p.m., significant snow in southeastern Ohio, northern West Virginia, and western Pennsylvania. Then as we continue to move forward, This now would be midnight Sunday night. You can see by midnight, the heaviest snow is now in the northern Ohio, Akron, maybe even down into like Mansfield, Worcester, Canton area, certainly Ashtabula, Erie, Pennsylvania. By midnight, the heavy snow is going to be up there. Once again, though, you still see this dry slot coming up into Pennsylvania there. And again, this area is probably not going to see quite as high of totals as the areas surrounding it. All right, now moving forward again. So this would be about by 6 a.m. Monday morning. You can see the heaviest snow still falling here in eastern Ohio and certainly northwestern Pennsylvania, but the storm is certainly beginning to wind down. So by the time the sun comes up Monday morning, the heaviest snow will be over for most of us, except for the people here in eastern Ohio and northwestern Pennsylvania. All right, continuing to move forward now. Now, this would be about noon Monday, and you can see by noon Monday, the winds are going to be out of the north, and so there is still going to be the possibility of lake effect snow on the backside of the storm. And I would say by noon Monday, most of us could expect to see about another inch of snow from noon through the rest of the daylight hours on Monday. By the time the sun goes down Monday evening, by that time the event should be over and the snow will have stopped for just about everybody. Now, what can we expect as far as totals for accumulation? I know many of you have already seen the map that I made here earlier. I'm going to give you a little bit of an idea of how I made that map. What I do is I take the average of several different models, and I thought I'd show you a few of these models. Now, this is called the NAM model, or the North American model. And this model is showing, like right here, Belmont County, you'd be looking at about 10 to 12 inches. Most of eastern Ohio, very close to 10 inches up here. Now up here, this is significantly more. This would be up in this area, up around Ashtabula. You could be looking at 20 inches if the NAM model is right. Down here, notice that 1.9, 3.4. This is that dry slot, and that's where those lower totals are going to be. But you can see the NAM takes the 6-inch line. If you look, this kind of white line right here, that is the 6-inch line. And so everyone east of that line, according to the NAM model, would be getting 6 inches or more. And certainly over here in eastern Ohio, we're looking at right around 10 inches if the NAM is correct. Now let's look at another model. Now, this is the GFS model. This is the primary American model. And as you can see, it goes a lot more aggressive in the eastern United States. That 6-inch line is in a similar location, maybe slightly further east. But if you drew a line from about Cleveland, say down to Portsmouth or a little bit west of Portsmouth, everybody to the east of that line would be seeing at least 6 inches or more. But when you get into this area here, this is where you're seeing at least a foot of snow. And you can see here where the color gets a little lighter. That's pushing up close to 20 inches of snow. Now, there's still a dry slot here, but even in the dry slot, we're looking at 8, 9, 10 inches. So that's pretty impressive to see that kind of snow even in a dry slot. So those two models that I just showed you are kind of the extremes. Now let's look again at the European model. So this is a European model. And as I said earlier, right now, it's probably the closest one to being an average of all the models. Here you see that 6-inch line, again, just west of Cleveland, coming right down through Columbus, and then working its way almost over to Cincinnati, but not quite. And again, so everyone to the east of that line would be seeing at least 6 inches of snow. These darker colors through here, this is where you're going to see at least 10 inches of snow. And then up here, you can see this is a foot of snow up to possibly as high as 30 inches up around Erie, Pennsylvania. Once again, you see the dry slot here, and this is where the snow totals would be much lower. But you can see to the east and to the west of the dry slot, you would have significantly higher totals. So that's the one that is closest to average. And so when I look at all those models, plus I look at several more, I also look at the GDPS, which is the Canadian model, and even some others. And I kind of take the average. And so when I made this map earlier today, it was based on all of those averages, the average of what we were just looking at. Notice this is my second call. Some of you saw the map that I made yesterday. This was the updated map today. I am planning to make one more map tomorrow before the storm starts if I need to. If things look like they haven't changed much, I might just stick with this one. But this is kind of what I'm expecting right now. Now, I will say this, over here in this 10 to 16 inch area, you can expect to be closer to 16 if you're up here in the north, right? So up here in this area, this is where the 16 inches will be most likely. And down through this slot right here, say, from East Liverpool down towards Marietta and Parkersburg, even though it says 10 to 16 inches there, most likely they're going to be closer to the 10 than the 16. Here's that dry slot where I've got 6 to 10. Yeah, again, that dry slot, if it goes just a little further west or further east, the numbers here could be lower than what I have. So again, I will update that tomorrow. I hope you enjoyed the video. Again, if you want to see more videos like this, I invite you to join my pro site. You can join that at www.patreon.com/Ohio Valley Weather. Everybody stay safe. There could be power outages. You should be prepared for that possibility. All right. See you tomorrow or next time.